you get your money back for stuff. But we weren't able to get my fabric back, so I was upset. But my sister bought me a better one, so I was happy.
Yay!
I'm gonna show y'all.
Definitely read the fine print online.
That's the thing. They said this was no offense to any Chinese person, but a lot of stuff that I've gotten out from China have been very, very bad purchases, or they're not as described or pictured.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just grab any old person's picture, put it there, and then you get something in the mail. You're like, what is this? This is Halloweenish. You know what I mean? Like, nobody can wear this wig anywhere.
Tell me why people were talking about, Afro puff ponytails. They had them on white models.
Right? You're just like, this is not as advertised. So
why? They
said 5 yards of fabric, but they were like, oh yeah, you're going to get this 5 yards. We're going to give 2.5 of one and then 2.5 of something you didn't ask for. And I was like, bitch, where's my fabric?
What's up, you guys? It's BlerdTalk with Bola
and Whitney.
And as you've heard from our little pre-show, pre-game, we have a special guest with us today.
Our dear friend, Chadney.
Say hi, Chadney.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yay. We're so happy to have you here. I'm going to clap it up.
And I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining us today on BlerdTalk with Bola and Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
We got an awesome discussion planned for you guys because we're going to be talking about the what? Which movie are we talking about, Whitney?
The Woman King. I always thought it was but when I was like, wait, is it? Now I got to double check.
Is it the Woman King?
You're right. King. It is the Woman King. Because at first, I thought the opposite. I thought it was just Woman King. Okay. And then I looked at, because I don't know, I'm just very OCD about that. I was like, I got to get all of the wording and the capitalization and everything right for the title. But you're right, The Woman King.
Anyway, we watching the awesome, fantastic #1 film right now, Woman King. Agoge. Busu.
Busu.
That was a fail.
Can we do it again?
Okay,
wait. Yeah, we should have practiced.
Agoge.
Wusu.
With some more power.
All right.
Okay.
Agoge.
Wusu.
Exactly. That's how you do it. Girl,
I got such what is it? What was it in Wakanda? What did they say?
They say Ibambe. Right?
Yeah, but what comes after Ibambe?
I think they just say Ibambe. They repeat the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So theirs is it's like a call and comeback.
Mm-hmm. So
sometimes they just have a chant, like even in Black Panther for the mountain tribe where M'Baku is, they just said Mefa, and then I think the other ones say hoo or something after that, or they just say Mefa again. I don't know, but there's like a call and response thing you do, right? So Ibambe, and then they just say Ibambe back.
Ibambe.
Yeah, Ibambe.
Ibambe.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. So, but for this one, the Dahomey have theirs, and it's called, for the Agoge, they say the Agoge. Wusu. Exactly. I love it. What do you think about it, Chad? Wasn't it awesome?
Incredibly awesome.
Yes. Okay, we'll get into it.
We'll get around to it.
First, we are going to do our Blerding Out segment. Blerding Out segment. Maybe that's going to be our new little song.
It's a different one.
Yeah.
It's like the anime different intro that they introduced.
Exactly. That's just what I feel like today.
We had a different one earlier on.
I know. I usually do blerd out. Blerd out. I don't know if it's because my lovely friend is here.
This is like a part
She's so
2.
Lovely. So I have to be like, Blerding Out segment.
Where they do a whole new remix.
Exactly. That's going to be the new one for the rest of the year. Blerding Out segment. Remind me, Whitney. Anyway, so you guys know our Blerding Out segment is where we talk about some stuff. We are blerding out about different things. And because we are good hosts, aren't we, Whitney?
We try to be.
Yes, we do. We're going to let our guests go first.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Chadney, what are you blerding out about?
Well, Bola, you'd be proud of me.
Hey.
I finally picked up In Every Mirror She's Black.
Ooh, yes, talk about it.
Oh, so nice.
So I'm on chapter 6, and I just want to shout out the local libraries for offering free audiobooks and ebooks.
So nice.
I'm loving it so far, and it's making me just enjoy reading again. Yeah. I used to read when I was a child. And then just got away from me due to the internet, back in the 90s. And that became the obsession. But now just finally getting back into it, and then just learning that finding the genre that you like to read or genres just makes it more enjoyable. So So far, so good. I'll let you know when I finish it.
What is your genre, Chad?
Book
genre, because I know movie genres and book genres can be different for people.
So, like, as a child, it used to be like mystery kind of books, and I'll just tell y'all. I don't want to embarrass myself, but I used to love Babysitter Club.
Oh my god!
Oh, okay.
That's good. I used to watch the show back in the day, so I don't blame you.
So I still have all the books to this day. Like, I cannot get rid of them. So hopefully, if I have a child one day, little girl, they'll go to her.
Okay.
But like, they're in my parents' house. Locked away. I cannot get rid of them. It's just a little piece of my childhood.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now I can go back to it. But yeah, again, kind of thriller, mystery, and just trying to branch into other genres as well. Fiction is a book you suggested. But yeah.
Can I tell you, I used to love, like, I'm not going to lie, this is not a guilty pleasure at all. I'm just going to say, growing up, I loved the American Girl collection.
Yes.
I read, like, most of them. I just didn't really care for the colonial girl or that Dutch girl, whatever. I was like, I don't care. But from the Victorian girl down, I was reading them. And everyone used to think it was so nerdy. But I didn't care. I was like, I love the American Girl. I love them. So when you talk about the babies, I'm like, I'm not, I'm all for it. But I'm so happy you're reading the book.
Yes,
I'm glad you're liking it.
Yes.
My book genre is so different.
Well, it's just something I used to read as a kid. Like, I like different things, but I loved historical fiction because I liked history. So I was down to read those kind of things. And I enjoyed it very much. Yeah.
I never read either of those book series. My book series was Animorphs.
Yeah.
Growing up. Well, you can tell I've got like a whole shelf. I didn't ever finish the series. I should probably go back and try to do that. But like almost a whole shelf of the bookcase is just Animorphs because they made like 50 bazillion of those books.
There were a lot of them. Someone used to work in the library. I remember them, and I remember the TV show. I liked the TV show, but I don't know why. As a young girl, I just couldn't get into the Animorph books. Like Goosebumps, those ones, I couldn't get into them. I was
remember a horror movie. Okay. I mean, I liked the series, like the television show.
It was good. I wish they had finished that, but they canceled it.
Can you really finish it though? Because weren't they all pretty much like anthology? Like each story was a different type of thing. Though?
No, they had come up with the show where they were all together and there was stuff going on, but they never it just never finished. I think they canceled the series.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I'm getting Goosebumps mixed up with Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Okay. Can you kind of summarize Animorphs? Because I've never heard of it.
So Animorphs is this book series where these 5 kids, they're just out hanging out one day. Like, I assume they're teenagers. They could be preteens. They don't give you too many details because they don't want you to be able to guess like who they are, where they're at. I mean, you get their first names, but they're out one night and they see an alien ship crash land. And so this, what are they called? So under the main villains are kind of the Hork-Bajir, but they're a race that was like subjugated by the main villains. Are they the Yeerks? I'm trying to remember what the name.
I'm glad she remember because I don't remember the name.
But like,
she remembers vividly.
These things, they're not like, they don't look that intimidating because they're basically these slugs, but they're parasites. So they get into the person's brain and they control people. So they've been like on Earth for a while, like subjugating the human race, just like they did to the Hork-Bajir and these other like alien species, but ones that were fighting them. And I'm trying to remember what their names are, what the name of their like alien race is. I can't recall. But anyway, this dying prince from this alien race that's like fighting them gives them the power to morph into different animals. All they have to do is touch the animal, and once they do, they can morph into it, but they can only hold the form. I think it's for 2 hours. And if they stay in the form for more than 2 hours, they'll be trapped in that form. So they have to come back out before they hit the 2 hour mark. So it's these 5 kids who are basically like a guerrilla force because it's just the 5 of them trying to fight an entire like freaking invasion of these alien parasites.
Yeah. Wow. It's up her alley, science fiction. Wow. It's fantasy science fiction is what she liked growing up. And I probably watched more of that than I read, but as like an elementary school person, I was just down with all the girly books. I really was.
And I never read the girly books.
Or the black books or like poetry books or something like that. That was what I was in. Or historical books. I really did like historical fiction. But I like stuff like the Boxcar Kids. Something like that, or like Encyclopedia Brown.
I think I read some of Encyclopedia Brown too.
Those kinds. Those
the twins mysteries that were in high school.
I think there was a book about that. Ooh.
It was one of those girly, preteen books.
Yes, there was a book about two young girls that did something, and it's not Mary Kay National.
No.
I can't remember, but another one I did remember, and this was like elementary school rather than the Animorph type things or further on. The Amelia Bedelia.
Oh yeah,
I loved Amelia Bedelia.
Amelia Bedelia, yeah. There's so many series now, like for the kids and the girls, and I liked Encyclopedia Brown because you got to pick your own adventure. It's like if you wanted this, go to this page, and if you wanted that, then stay on this page.
I did enjoy Encyclopedia
Brown. That was really
Brown.
cool, but so I'm just glad you got into reading. I hope you love the book because it's really good. So maybe you found your genre. Because I know, like, I've been reading these new books written by Black and African authors, and I feel like I find a niche. Like, I've just been digging in to these romance books or like just books written by them, by Black and African stories, and it's like really, really enriching. Like, I get really engrossed, and I've been reading more books this year than I normally do. So I'm enjoying it. So I'm glad you're liking it. That's cool.
It's so nice that somebody takes someone's recommendation.
Oh my God. Can you stop, Whitney? How many episodes are we going to have to talk about Dark Angel?
Until you read it.
Anyway, Whitney, why don't you go first now?
It's going to be your Christmas present, then you'll have to read it.
Oh my God, fine. You can do that. You know what? I was teaching my Sunday school kids about angels and demons today. So this is interesting. All right. Why don't you go next for your blurt out?
All right. So I've been blerding out. I'm still watching it, but I finally got around because, after we got into our kind of like anime episode phase, I wanted to, I was like, I want to find some more good ones to watch. So I have started watching My Hero Academia.
Oh, no, you have not before me?
Yes.
Yeah, I started before you, though.
You did? I didn't know you had started.
I just fell asleep on the first episode.
Okay. Because like the girl like BlerdCon did tell us, is that the one that she said it starts off slightly slow?
Yep.
Because like, I watched the first couple episodes and I'm like, I might switch to one of the other two recommendations we got.
Exactly.
But then she's right. Like maybe about 5 episodes in or something, I'm like, okay, we're picking up. And I'm like, this is really good.
Okay.
So I just started season 4 today. So.
Oh, dang.
I've been
powering. Season 4, dang.
Yeah, I've been powering.
Way ahead of me. Like I said, I fell asleep on episode 1.
It's becoming an obsession because it really is really good.
Okay.
It's not a shoujo anime. I would say it's probably considered a shonen anime.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Anyone where there's a lot of fighting and stuff is definitely called shonen, which means it's more geared towards boys. Even though there are plenty of girls that like the fighting and stuff too, but they call it shonen, and then shoujo are all like the girly ones where there's more like
love stories,
relationships, just about school life. No supernatural stuff. It's just about like life and like obsessing over your little.
There can be supernatural stuff because like Sailor Moon is still shoujo.
Oh, you're right.
But there's fighting and all that stuff. But like the storylines, they're more love stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, not just all about like. I guess boy stuff. I don't know what else to say besides boy stuff.
It's hard to even say boy stuff, but what people would probably maybe traditionally think of boy stuff because it's not just boy stuff. Because
that's
not
true.
everybody likes the same things.
I hate putting it that way, but I know that there's plenty of girls that like some things that are considered boy stuff. But I just to people know the difference. So there's like the fluffy, more like you said, lovey-dovey. Those kind of animes are considered shoujo, or when they're just about life or school and there's nothing happening. There is,
I don't know, to be honest, because some of the ones where I would say, like you said, if there's more of a kind of a underlying love story or something. Or interpersonal relationships, then maybe more so shoujo. But there's some that are like kind of slice of life where I wouldn't say it's either. It would be hard to classify as either.
You probably have to look at it and see.
Yeah,
but that's cool. So you've been liking the show. You've been powering through.
I've been powering through. It's good. It's good.
How many seasons has the show got?
Well, on Hulu there are 5. I don't know if it's done yet because it'll be such a bummer if the 5th season is the last one so far that they've released to America, but there's still more because it'll be like, no, I don't want to wait.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but
is it still? Do you know if it's still running the show?
I haven't looked that part up yet.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Chadney, do you know anything about anime?
No.
I know you're quiet. It's quite all right. On the show, it's just we're blurs, but you don't have to nerd out about everything we're nerding out about.
Some of the like really catchy songs. Some of the most catchy songs are not the most. Actually, no. I will say some of the most catchy like intro songs are often from like animes. Like, fighting evil by
How many times are you
moonlight,
gonna sing this song on the show?
winning love
This is
by
like the third episode in a
daylight.
row. She said Sailor
Never
Moon.
running from a real fight. She is the one named Sailor Moon. Or let's see. I wanna be the very
That
best.
is Pokemon.
Like no one ever was. Dun, dun, dun. To catch them is my real
I don't have a
test.
watch on, but I'm
To
looking at
train
it.
them is my cause. Dun, dun, dun. I
Don't
will
get me-
travel
don't get me
across
started.
the land.
I want to get onto the episode.
Searching far and
topic.
wide. Dun, dun, dun. Teach Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. You and
Take
me. I know it's my destiny.
Pokemon.
You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all.
Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. Okay, we're done.
Woo! Girl, you know how it is.
Jigglypuff.
I'm so shocked. I didn't know you know about Pokemon.
Oh my god.
I
We
know a little
totally
bit about
did like a
Pokemon.
fangirl squeal when Jackie sung the Jigglypuff song.
I know a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
That is
you
awesome.
get some glasses for
But
that.
girl,
You
that
get
was
some
totally
All right.
you, because either of y'all could have stopped it. It was basically like that one episode of a Black Girl sketch show when who was it? It wasn't Aretha Franklin. It was Patti LaBelle. And she was like, every time she has a breakup, Patti LaBelle came and she won't leave until she sings with her. It's like, all you have to do to sing is sing with me and it can stop.
Would you have stopped though? No, I don't think so. All right, so can I go to my blurt out? Or you have more? You have more besides?
You go,
mine?
girl. You go,
Okay.
girl.
All right, so I'm blurting out not about a show or a book, even though these were awesome, and I'm very happy, especially about that one. I will try and catch up on that show because I did start it before you, but I totally didn't finish it. But shout out to Lala again because somebody else is reading. Anyway, she's the author of the book. But I am blurting out about going to an activity. So me and Maddie, big up to Maddie. Maddie's my like fancy dinner friend. Because anytime he's like down to go to a fancy dinner, he always messages, and I always like go with him if no one else does. So shout out to you, Maddie. But this time this was a murder mystery dinner.
Oh.
Yes, and he had told us about it in our group chat and everything, and I was just like,
didn't make it.
that sounds good. I know you had plans, but I was like, this sounds great, and I was like, I'm going. Yeah, because I was like, I've never been to a murder mystery dinner where something's happening in the room while you're eating and everything. Y'all, this one was really fun, actually. Like, I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was in the Maggiano's in Short Pump. Have you guys been there before?
Yeah,
No, I haven't.
one time. I've been to Maggiano's once.
Never mind. Anyway, so silent. Anyway, but it's a Maggiano's, the Italian restaurant, and so it was really nice because it was like a mafia theme, and they had decided to like just do it like all the actors come in front of us, and they all had their little parts. So it was like a mafia family, and then the head of the family had died, and then you had to figure out among the cast of people who were in the family that were there who did it. And so you had your little table. Part of your ticket included like a drink ticket, and then they had like the clues in front of you. Everybody, you had strangers sitting at your table, unless you had like a table of 10 people that like, let's just say you had a party of 10, then y'all had one table. But otherwise it was me and Nat with like 3 other parties. So it was like 2 couples and then a party of 4. So we were at table number 7, but we weren't that lucky. We called ourselves Lucky 7 because everyone had to have like mafia names. So some people's tables like forget about it, and some other table was like the Dons and the Dolls, and then some tables they had like people came up with some really cool names for their tables. And we like to say ours wasn't really that lucky because the waiter had spilled like fish juice all over me.
Oh,
yeah,
what?
like on my phone, and then like it dripped on my pants and everything while he was pulling, because they did the dinner in family style. So he was just like right near me because I was near the open space, and there was like the dishes were so large, and there was so many glasses on the table. So it was just like interesting. And then he like dropped a glass at our table later, and it was just a lot. And then I ended up spilling my wine into the ravioli. It was so interesting, y'all. And I was like, we are not a lucky table, apparently. And then we also did not get the answer right. So, but it was fun. just sitting with like strangers and being out there, like it was just an activity. Like we were all trying to figure something out. We were discussing things, and I liked it. So like every cast member came and they gave you a little speech, right? And then we had our clues, and then the cast members, while we were eating, because they had like 3 courses, they brought like a bunch of hors d'oeuvres out first, and then they brought the main food, and then they brought the desserts later, and everyone could just share it. Like it was really, it's like family style. So everyone's just passing the plate along, passing hot plates, by the way, because Matt was like, this plate is really hot. And I was like, dang, we almost dropped the food. It was so funny.
So this is a traveling murder mystery company?
No, it's like a group of people just do it. I mean, I guess they travel and they go to different places because Matt knew maybe this is how you heard about it, because Matt knew one of the girls that was playing the maid. So apparently he works with her at the escape room because, that's his other job, working at an escape room. And so she was telling him, I guess she must have told him about it, but she was the actress there. She was pretending, and I was so sure she had done the killing because it was just so
was convincing.
I'm telling you, nobody in that room had 11 tables. If you imagine 11 tables with 10 people at each table, it was about over 100 people in there, right? No table got it right.
Oh, wow.
No table. And I don't know if that's a testament to the guy who was playing the eventual killer. So the eventual killer ended up being the son-in-law who was like the trophy husband, wearing the Hawaiian shirt, like to drink all the time. He kind of reminded me, his swagger was like a Tony Stark before he got kidnapped in Iron Man, where he was like the playboy, the rich one, just going off, having a good time. Him and his wife didn't like each other. His wife ended up shooting him in the leg. It was so funny. So they all pretended. What I liked was that they came into the story and they pretended they stayed in their roles. So you could ask them questions. You're like, okay, so why don't you like the butler? I don't trust him. He does this. And then they would stay in their characters and do stuff, and then you try to get clues from them. So I remember the daughter, her character's name was Sabrina, and she didn't really want to be there. That was her whole thing, was that she was a young girl who just wanted to party, be on her phone, and she didn't know why she was coming to this family reunion with all of us. And she was like, I don't even want to be here. And then I was like, okay, but like, were you cool with your grandpa? She's like, oh, but I did have a secret name for my grandpa. And I was like, yes, write the question down, answer the questions. It was so much fun.
Okay, this sounds entertaining.
You had questions you had to answer, and then you were also trying to figure out who did it, and based off of the clues and then the stuff they were telling you when they came. So it was so interesting. I enjoyed it like a lot. Minus the, the hiccups that were happening in the glass, the fish juice on my phone and my dress. But I really liked it. It was nice. And then they had prizes for people for the winning table. They had like soaps and stuff. And then they gave everybody.
If no one guessed right, how did the person?
Because they did have prizes prepared for those who, in case somebody won. So they had like a tiebreaker type thing that they did just so they could give the prizes out to certain tables. So they had like 3 prizes. Like table 2 got like the second prize table got like chocolate. The other one got like soaps. And then there was another prize. And then everybody got like a sampling of cologne just to be nice. So it was that was what happened. But I was like, man, I wanted us to win, but nobody won. So I was happy that we weren't the only table that couldn't figure it out. Cause I was like, it was him the whole time. But honestly, guys, I was like, hey, if y'all come back around, I might go again just to see, because they have like they do another topic the next time. So it's like a serial killer thing the next time. And they're going to a different restaurant too, but it's in October. And the director and writer of the thing came, and he like came to our table first and was talking to us and everything. It was really lovely, like Italian style. Everything was cool. Like,
so what are they, like a troupe?
Like that's a good thing. I'm gonna have to find out if they are performing troupe or not, because even Matt wants to act with them, because Matt likes to act. So hopefully next year he'll get to join them, because their October show is already booked for all the actors.
Wow.
So,
the actors, okay.
For the actors. So he's like, maybe he can join in January if they have open auditions for the next traveling dinner theater, mystery theater.
Bola, you're a writer, so maybe there's opportunities in there to write.
Who knows? Maybe. I'll have to talk to the director and stuff, but I just thought it was a cool event to go to.
That sounds pretty cool.
It was really fun, y'all. I was like, we gotta go. I was like, we gotta bring a whole table next time. And
so is it monthly or bi-monthly?
That I don't know. Because like I said, I thought it was something Maggiano did themselves. Like I just thought like they're celebrating something, so they wanted to do a special activity. But it looks like this grouping of people, and I didn't even get their name, they travel and they do different ones at different restaurants. So now I have to get this information from Matt. I'm gonna find out. But y'all, It was really nice. And once I get the information, I'll put it in the show notes. But I really recommend going to a dinner theater murder mystery. It was really fun.
Sweet.
And we got to dress up. They wanted us to dress up. So we dressed up in mafia wear. And then the best dress up outfits got like a prize too. They got like a $25 gift card.
Oh, nice.
So it was nice. So I had like my like fashionista mob dress. I had my little tuxedo dress on. And then Mac was like, I don't really have mob clothes. So Mac just dressed in his like newsboy flair with his boots, you know?
Wait a minute.
I was like, you look more newsboy than mafia, but it was okay. But people had suspenders and hats and everything. It was really cool.
That
they let you
cool.
get into it. Yeah, but that's what I'm blurring out about because it was really fun.
Sweet.
All right. So, anybody else have any blerding outs anymore?
I did. Oh, I forgot. Just like a quick mention. I went to Mean Girls on Friday.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. I think it would have been even better if I could understand the lyrics because that's sometimes the problem I have like going to a live show because I need subtitles. That's why I just like watching stuff on TV because like it was good, but I think it would have been even better if I could have like would have known what the lyrics were. But like on the way home, I played the Broadway soundtrack and I was like, oh,
that's what you were saying.
That was what they were saying. It made it even better to know like that that's what the lyric was.
So was it basically like a movie version, a theater version of the movie, or it was totally different?
Because it's based off of the movie Mean Girls, which my mom has never seen. I need to find.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know.
I saw it there last
that.
night.
Okay, sweet.
What was your thoughts?
She liked it, but she also like couldn't understand all of the like lyrics. Like if they were speaking, just like not singing, she can. And like if it was a slower song, I had a much easier time like understanding what they were saying. But like the songs where it was like belting, like I couldn't.
Were they singing everything? Like
no.
You know,
not everything.
Okay.
They sung a lot, but like not everything. It wasn't like Phantom of the Opera, like where every single word is like.
Because sometimes those ones, as much as I love musicals, sometimes I prefer if they like broke it up where they was talking and then singing. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, no, just a quick aside to mention that it was good. So I'm just looking forward to the 2022-2023 season because this was the last of this past season.
Okay, cool.
So the next one that's coming up is Dear Evan Hansen in October, and that will be the first one of the new season.
Ah, okay,
Yes.
You like theater, Chad?
Okay.
I've seen The Color Purple in The Lion King.
That's coming out. Yeah. Also, I actually need to address something from last episode of Fruits Basket. So I know you guys, we were talking about it, and I did not have this information correct. But because I had seen both the old version and the new version, and I had assumed that they were like pretty similar and stuff. But actually, after digging, like because I was watching it again, I was digging and I realized it was actually very different. Because apparently the main reason why Fruits Basket, the first one that appeared in 2001, the creator of Fruits Basket hated it.
Oh.
She hated it. She said they did not do what she wanted. She did not like the direction they were taking, the tone, color, everything, and she was irritated, so she refused to let them continue, which is why they did not do more back then. And if you watch the episodes where Kyo turns into his monster form, you will see that they did something weird where, you know how Toru went after him? But in the 2001 version, she like stopped somewhere for like a long time and was just kind of like, like she wasn't going to go, you know, and it didn't really show her character. You were just like, why are you just staying right here?
Yeah.
And then Yuki went after them and that didn't happen in the 2019 version. And she's like, that's not what she wanted. So that was the main reason why there is a newer version, is because the creator of the Fruits Basket, she hated what her and the director, they did not get along at all.
Okay.
So that's why there's the two versions, and that's why there was never more of the first series in 2001.
Interesting.
So I had to just put that out there because I was like, I did not mention it right.
What did she said about the new version?
Oh, that's why they finished it. Like this was what she wanted.
So she did.
Yeah,
she did like
yeah.
okay, because
I
loved
she
it.
Wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to just make the correction, y'all. So don't come for me.
No, it's interesting
don't
to
come
find
for
that
me.
out. It's interesting to find that out. I'm glad you mentioned it.
All right, so we are going to get into the episode at hand, y'all. We are talking about the Woman King. Yay! Okay, so we are going to do.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the call and repeat again.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna surprise y'all to make sure y'all ready. I'm gonna surprise y'all. Okay, so we're gonna do first impressions. Chadney, let us know what's your first impression.
First impressions. It was a powerful film. A lot of pride. I felt that through the movie.
Yes.
Just proud of all the ladies that showcased the Dahomey tribe. But it was incredible film.
Yes.
Awesome. What about you, Whit? What's your first impression?
My first impression had to have come just from I'm gonna go based off of like the trailer, because like you sent it to me, Bola, because I hadn't heard of it prior to then. But you know me, I don't watch like TV, and short of seeing like a trailer in the theaters, it's rare that I'm gonna see any trailers, because all of my streaming stuff, I specifically pay for the no ads ones.
Which sometimes I don't blame her.
Yeah, I don't blame you either.
Yeah, so like I don't see them very often unless they just happen to come up in my like YouTube recommended randomly, and the thumbnail is good enough for me to be like, oh, what's this? So when you sent me the trailer, I was like, hells yeah, let's definitely see this when it comes out. And plus, I mean, you put Viola Davis's name on anything, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go see it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Even if it's like one of her movies that I was like, it was okay, but it was not. It was like not bad, but it was not my thing. I would watch normally. Was like Ma Rainey.
I have not watched that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm normally like me. I was just like, I would probably not watch that. But because it was her, I was like, I had to see it. It wasn't bad. But again, it was one of those things where I did not know that it was a play version, like a movie of a play. You see what I mean? Like it was done in a play style, but it was still a film. Okay. So, but because she was in it, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch just to see her. Yeah.
Right.
Fences is one of her other ones that I haven't seen that everybody saw.
I have not seen it, but
I love it. I believe it was based off the play of August Wilson.
Okay.
I think it's the same guy that did Ma Rainey too. Like
August Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm not sure, but
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think that's what it's called.
Right.
Fences is good too. Viola Davis, her like performance towards the end was just powerful. I'm not gonna give anything away, but
it's really good.
Viola Davis is the truth.
Yep.
Just so you know, this is a spoiler-full show.
Yes.
So.
All right. So so right now
you can, because we be spoiling everything for everybody.
Yeah. Right now, we're just warning you. Please go watch that. I mean, go watch it and then come back, and then especially for the Woman King, we're gonna be talking about everything. So our reviews are. Tell them, Whitney.
Earthing.
Exactly. Our reviews are spoiler full. So if you're looking for no spoilers, please.
This is not the place for you.
But if you're okay with the spoilers and you want them because you want to watch you want to know what you're getting into. Because some people actually want the spoilers. Some people want to know what they're getting into. Then come and sit down. And listen, pop your ear up, you know?
Yes. But my mom said the same thing, that Fences is really good. I have not watched it yet. Just because it's not my usual genre. Like drama is not my usual genre. I will watch it, but it's not like my top genre. It's like, action, science fiction, fantasy, action, that type of stuff is usually like my top genres. And I actually like all genres, but it's just not one that I usually will like be like. Exactly.
But going back to first impressions, you finish yours? You finish your first impression?
Oh, I just said it was based off of the trailer. My bad. Sorry. But like, it was so, I can't even I have a hard time remembering back that far, but it was just powerful enough where I'm like, must see this. And just like you said, Viola Davis, like that's an instant. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Check that out, right?
Exactly. You're going to represent.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I love it gave me so many Black Panther vibes. But like, this is like a historical thing. Black Panther is like, this is, well, no, they based a lot of the stuff out off of African culture.
Yeah, the Dahomey, actually the Dora Milaje are actually based off of the Agoje, those women, that tribe, because they're the only tribe that had with female warriors at the time, because most of Africa is patriarchal. So most of the women didn't fight. But so that's why they were unique in that they allowed the women to train and fight like that. So the Dora Milaje were based off that. Yep.
And that's so cool because, like, we had, like, when I saw it with Bola and Jane and my mom, and we had a brief discussion afterwards. But we
that thing wasn't brief. We talked about
You're right. It was like an hour afterward. That was like an hour-long discussion after.
Girl, I was like, yo, we kept moving and certain, like,
but we ain't going home. That's how Black people do. Anytime Black people leave, like, in a minute, it's like, okay, it's leaving, but it's going to take at least 30 to an hour before you actually go, because you got to stop at each person to see to discuss.
That was the good thing. There was like pockets of Black people just showing up, and then not leaving. It was like, you know, they were in the other theater, and then they just kind of corralled themselves in different areas, pockets, just talking. And it was awesome at the theater.
And since I can't remember the ones you have, I can only try to remember the other thing. I'm just gonna say, "Hey, Bombay!"
Wusu.
But it was so rich with culture, and I think that's what made it so great and gave that great. I think that's the different, like, the common thing between, like, Black Panther and the Woman King. It's so rich with culture that it just makes it amazing. And why something, because we talked about this outside, like why something like Mulan fell short, because it didn't have, like, you didn't have the people, like, behind the camera to give it, or to at least do enough research or consultation.
It was a whitewashing of their culture.
Yeah, it wasn't enough consultation to people who are actually within the culture. And like you said, it was interesting because the two, the writers?
The writers are white, yeah.
Yes, but you can tell
the main writer was white.
Okay.
Of the Woman King?
Yeah.
Her name was Dana Stevens. Yeah.
Okay.
But you can just tell that they did enough research and probably had enough consultation with people to give it that proper respect to the culture. Because like one of the BlerdCon panels I went to, I don't know if it was this year, it might have been like couple years ago, they talked about writing for cultures that aren't your own. They're like, you can do it, but you have to make sure that you consult with people. You know, you got to get other eyes that are actually from that culture, so that you make sure that you give it the I don't know what word I'm looking for.
It needs like the due diligence.
Yes, to make sure that it's not just your interpretation, that it's like this is
culture,
true.
This is
true to the culture.
Yep, exactly.
And I felt like they put in the work for that, because it was so rich. Just like Black Panther was so rich, because it was like they did the research for it to make it just like, oh, this is amazing. So that was my first impression. Hola.
Oh my gosh, you guys got like said everything anyway, but I'll just add to mine that I just felt like a sense of pride as well. I felt like it was so powerful, and I felt super touched by the film, because the film kind of takes you through a roller coaster, and it was nice to see, especially someone who has direct West African background, like my family being from Nigeria, everything. It's just nice to see your culture, because it's like me, I marveled at other people's cultures. I've grown up doing that, seeing how they do things and seeing the representations and watching their films and stuff. And I've seen mine as well, but it's like, this is only in my house. Like, but I never see our things that everyone else can see and enjoy. And that's part of the magic for me, and like the realness, and like what I enjoy most is that, like, I was like, this is our culture presented in majesty to the world for everybody to see. Like, this is how we are too. This is what we can, this is something about us that you don't know. And I remember Thuso Mbedu, who played Nawi. She's from South Africa, and she was like, "I'm African, and I don't know the story." And I'm not surprised, because he's like, "You're from South. The West is completely different. The South and West cultures are different." But it's like, it's a story they bury. They don't want you to know about it. Y'all know I do a lot of research afterwards, and just to hear and figure out, because I really wanted to know how a film like this got made. And once the concept, I don't think the writer did the conceptualize. I think maybe she was tasked to write it once they had the idea. Okay. Somebody had the idea. Viola was talking about how somebody had this idea 7 years ago, and it took 7 years to get this film made, because no one wanted to produce the film.
Now, Bola, I heard Viola talking about her production company. Are you aware of the details of that? So was it Viola's kind of idea?
No, somebody came at her with the concept 7 years ago as giving her an award. So she didn't know anything about it. But since then, she was doing research. So she had watched documentaries and did what she could for research. But she loved this idea. When once the script was made, she loved the idea. And she was like, this has to be made. This is what I want to do. But it took 7 years because they, I guess I would say, if it weren't for Black Panther, this movie could never be made. So Black Panther really, I have to give kudos to them because they really did pave the way for African stories to be seen and played. And even after Black Panther, you just started seeing a proliferation. Is that the right word? Where it's like multiplied?
A lot of it.
Yeah, plethora.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just start seeing multiples of the African stories, either in fantasy, where you have to you just start seeing more of it.
You see like almost like a straightening of the back. Like
this is like, we can be up here too.
This is us. Like this is Black people aren't like gang members in films and stuff.
Or just
we're not always victimized either.
Exactly.
Right.
Or poor with flies in your mouth and the mud huts.
You see more of the pride, the richness,
the regality.
Regality. That's a great word for like what the films like The Woman King and like Black Panther did. It showed the regality of Black people.
That's what I have in my notes here. Regal.
Yes.
Chadney actually has a notebook, y'all.
I was trying to come prepared.
So I was just like, I was in awe and I was like super proud and I was like immediately like, everybody needs to see this. Like, that was my main thing. It's like I was so grateful too. I was grateful to her because it was like, not only was it African story, but this was a woman this time. Because Black Panther focused on the Black Panther, of course, with the supernatural element. Yeah, I know the women were there featured, which I was very pleased for.
It was a feature, but I would say that for me, the woman oftentimes stood out even more so than
I'm talking about how Black Panther's still the lead of the film.
Yes, okay, I got you.
The woman is the lead. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because you're right, like they balanced it in Black Panther, but for this film, it was about the woman. It was about, especially during the time, because there's a lot of stuff, and we're gonna get into the issues and things. But especially during that time, for it to be a historical based off of real events thing, and then for it's like. Everyone thinks, Africans just sold their people. They're like, I was like, no, some people there were fighting. Some people there thought this was wrong. Some people tried to do something. And then in this regard, these group of women were fighting back, and so they didn't try to sugarcoat over the fact that the Dahomey tribe, they sold their slaves too. But there were those women there. There were those women there fighting. They had skill. They had majesty. They had beauty. They were doing their thing. And I just like seeing that because it's just like, it just kind of negates everything we've been taught from that time. Because it's like, nobody tells you the truth of this. It's like, I would have loved to learn that in this heaviness of this story about what happened to Black people where we are seen as victims, there were these pockets of like, this cultural thing, this fighting back, this thing. I didn't hear anything about fighting back going to school. It was just like, they came, they stole, and then that's it.
And I like how you mentioned that they mentioned the fact that, we have profited, we have become like elevated and rich because of this, but they didn't like completely wash over it. They're like, they acknowledge it and they're like, no, we need to change. Like, these are our people. We cannot let, even if it's a rival tribe, we cannot let our people be taken.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like grateful. That would be the main word I have. And I was pride, regality, grateful that this film got to be made, that everybody could see it and witnessed it. And then those girls, those women, they looked amazing.
Yes.
Like, it was a breathtaking, first scene when they come out of the grass, all shiny with the palm oil and dark skin. And I'm like, you don't see films like this where it's dark skin, Black. I know, Chad, you get into this about the colorism. And I don't blame you. But it's like to see the dark Black skinned girls being exalted, it was awesome. You can sit with them and it still be fine. They don't have to be the Halle Berrys. And it's like, I can't spend my dollar for the Halle Berrys only.
I also love that you mentioned the palm oil. Because then it makes me think of like the Vaseline. Because you know how in Black culture is like, let me put my Vaseline on.
We're ready to fight.
Take the earrings off, put the Vaseline on.
Yes. Let's do this.
It's like, that makes so much sense. It's like, this is such a like pro fighter move. Like, you can't get a good grip on me if I got my oil and my Vaseline on.
Palm oil, let me just tell you, palm oil is the oil from West Africa. We use it in our food. That agusi I fall that you like. has red palm oil in it, and it's very slippery. It's very hard to get off. It's red. It stains.
Speaking
So
of
it's
girl,
really yummy.
hit a girl up soon, you know.
We're putting her request in.
Okay, so
Got
let's
my
get into
request
like
in.
our favorite parts of the film. Okay, all right, Whitney, what was your favorite part?
It's really hard to say a favorite part. I just want to mention a couple things that like I'm trying to remember what so Naniska is like best friend. Amenza,
yeah.
Amenza, her voice, like, dude, when she was
yes.
doing like the tribal, like, I think it was like a tribute to the fallen members. Was that?
Are you talking about the end or the part where they were?
It was like in the middle, I think.
Oh, that's the night where the women took their blood oath. The new women took their blood oath to be part of the Gaugier.
But she was singing. I was like, damn, that girl can sing.
That is the great Sheila Atim. And if you guys haven't seen her, she's also in the Underground Railroad with Thuso and Mbedu, who played Anawi. They're both in the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
And then Sheila was also in the Multiverse of Madness.
That's
she
right.
was also in that
yeah,
too.
The Halle Berry movie. I can't think of the name,
I
but
forget.
she was a boxer.
The one Bruise or something. Is it called Bruise?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
on
don't know that
Netflix.
one, I don't
Yeah, it's on
think.
Netflix.
Yeah.
You're right. She's in that too. I gotta
But yeah.
check that out.
She had a great voice, but then I was like, I'm sorry. John Boyega was looking fine as hell. He
Man
needs
was fine. That's some Nigerian.
I like his
beefcake
hair
right
when
there.
he has it like grown out like that, because I was like, oh my God, John.
Yes, 100%. Niger boy beefcake.
Yes.
Take a slice.
I
of
was
it.
like,
It's spicy.
every time I was like, damn.
He did have his chest out like
did
the whole
his
movie.
thing.
I was like,
it
woo.
was just like,
Woo.
ooh, be like, can I be one of the wives, please? Like,
I know, right? And I love it. He was such a strong king. It's like this was very like strong female character, but he was a strong king. And I liked that he had he was a traditionalist, but he was like, no, I am going to do this because like I believe that these women like this woman deserves to be elevated in this way. And I just also just want to talk about allyship. Like when they went to save the captured members of the tribe, there was that one dude from the other the men's royal guard, and he was joining. I was like, yes, come through allyship.
Yes. And that leads me to my favorite scene is when it was actually beautiful too. Viola's running through, I don't know what
the plains.
Yeah, she's running through the plains, and then you see.
Are you talking about the part where she wanted to go save Naui?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just beautifully shot though. Like the sun is kind of like setting, and then you see, I don't know their names, y'all, but you see them falling behind her. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie.
That was super powerful,
and just the unity, and the king told her not to go, but they were like, you know what? We're going anyway.
My favorite, I enjoyed the parts where they were singing or dancing and they were showing the movement, like when the Agoshi were dancing with the swords. Oh my God. It was so powerful. Even though I watched the movie twice because I just had to. But the second time, of course, we watched it with Chad, and I had my nieces with me. And I remember I asked my nieces, because they're like 10 and 7. Yes, I brought them to see it, but it was fine. And it was nice because the little one was asking my sister questions the whole time, to the point where my sister was like, I need to watch this again without them. But she was still explaining to them what was going on. And then the older one, she was like, I really like the part where they were dancing. They looked like us when we were in church and stuff. And I was like, yes, exactly. I was so proud that they could see this. I was like, they have no idea how awesome they have it. Because I was like, when we were their age, we didn't have that. And especially no representation of us in a positive light of Africans. Right. So I was like, for her to be like, oh, I can see this and it's like not a big deal. I was like, she don't get it. But, it's like, it's perfect for her. But I love the parts where they were doing the ceremonies or the dancing. Because it shows some cultural things, and that was one of my favorite things. Like, you could tell, like you said, Whitney, you could tell someone did the work. They looked at the what was going on. They did some research. I noticed small things like the palm oil, because that's a big thing for West Africans. Like, before there was vegetable, all that kind of stuff. Nigerians' food was palm oil and yams and the vegetables and that kind of thing. And then I saw how they were using the cowrie shells for, they were using it in the marketplace. It was a very small scene, but it was in the beginning when they were just showing you the Dahomey kingdom. So you were just seeing like an establishing shot of like everybody, how the kingdom looks. And I saw that part where they were exchanging the cowrie shells of currency. And I was like, yes, that's what they used to use. Because my mom said that cowrie shells, the white shells that people put in their hair now, those shells used to be used as currency back in the day. So I was like, yes, they got it. They really paid attention to all those things. They had the shrines and the mask and all that kind of stuff, the different cultural things, the spiritual nature of West Africans. I was like, did y'all research in full the multiple wives of the king and how they would be dressed differently? And I really like that they upplayed the beauty and stuff too. But they just showed all the different range of stuff that they would do in the different kingdoms. And like a lot of the captives had different hairstyles. And you saw like one of the captured one had the mud hairstyle. So, she was from a different people. And then, some people had the low cuts, other people had the braids. It was just like, it showed the variety of Africans in general, or Black people in general.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that so much.
It was. And I enjoyed the part that like just from interacting with you and your family, there's like a certain
mannerisms, right?
cultural like the humor that they put in there. I was
There was
like,
definitely humor in the movie.
there was that Black, but specifically just like noticing like the African humor, because I was like, that is so something I noticed that would have been something like you or somebody in your family would have said.
Close your mouth. You look like a fish.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. She's like, are you cooking? You're cutting that body, not a yam. Cut it away from me. She's like, use your body. I was like, oh my God, it's so African. Even the part where the Shantae, the queen that was trying to do too much.
Oh yeah.
The one wife. I was like, you're not even the main wife. Just chill. She was doing so much. I was like,
oh my God. And the eunuch, he was savage.
That's
he
what
was
I'm
like,
saying. The eunuch came out. He's like, you know what? He was like, you need to respect her. She's not the queen, but you need to respect her because why? She's like, well, you were hiding. She was fighting. So like, what were you doing? I
was like savage.
You were hiding in your closet. What were you doing? So I was like, that's so African. So it made me laugh. Because there was so much shade thrown at her.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
So I'm glad you noticed that too.
Yes.
Anything else? What about you, Chad? Any funny points or anything like you thought was like really cool or interesting? No,
it's okay. Good. I want to mention one more. Okay. Yeah, Izogi.
Oh yes,
when she was like, "You must always you must always do what Izogi says," and then she's looking at her, she's like, "I am Izogi."
Oh my gosh, Izogi was great.
She was probably like my favorite, like my standout favorite character.
My sister said the same thing.
When
she was so fast.
Like, you bitch asses!
Bola was in there crying.
I was crying too. I was all teared up and stuff. I was like, no, bitch asses.
I know. So mad. And the funny thing is, that woman is powerful. Lashana Lynch. Lashana Lynch is a British actress. That girl, not only is she full of power, but beautiful woman.
She is beautiful. Stunning. Just looking at her IMDb picture, like she is gorgeous.
I mean, you should see all of them when they're interviewing. They just look beautiful in all their clothes and their low cuts and the color and everything. But I just was like, she just had power in her performance and what she was doing. Like, especially that scene where the slaver was like molesting her a little bit. She just like, I dare you to keep touching my boobs. I just dare you. Then the guy was just like, just by her radiance of her like her presence in her face, he was like, let me stop. Because normally that's what they did. They did all this inspection like they were cows or something, which just shows how they demeaned their life and who they were. But she was just like, you better back up off me. You better back. She didn't have to say nothing, just her face. And I'm like, I love
just
that.
Just exuded power.
Yes, they both had strong, like they showed strength, but they also showed their femininity, their power, their vulnerability. I like that they gave these women stories. They gave them like Viola keeps saying this. They humanized them. They weren't just warriors. They were warriors and people. They were warriors and women with scars, background stories, issues. But they were fighting together. You know, there was prejudice as well and things. But as Amenza said, she's like, when they become an Agoge, you forget about which tribe they came from. They're one of us. And that was like, they promoted unity.
I love that.
Women. I love that.
And I was also sad to see the woman from the rival tribe.
Yeah,
when she died in the battle.
Name.
I didn't catch her name either.
I didn't catch her name, but she did a good job. I was so upset that she died so early, but it just showed the truth.
It wasn't like super early. It was in the big battle against like the...
Yeah, I know, but I wanted her to stay around a bit more.
I did too.
Because her little friend that she kept saving, that beautiful little girl. But I was just like, oh my god.
Well, you know the movie's got to take out a couple of your loved ones.
Right.
So
they got to break your heart.
Right.
They got to break your heart a couple times.
Killing Zogi was like rough. I was like, my chest. I was mad. I was so mad.
But I forgot about another part. Like when she was asking, Nawi was asking her friend how to do like the rope thing, and then during the battle when she had the knife on the rope, I was like, "Come through with the rope knife!" I was like, she was a beast, just a complete G out there. I expected like it was some Mortal Kombat level shit. Well, I expected her to be like, "Get over here!"
Right.
Oh my god, it was so great. The fighting that they were doing.
Ooh, yeah, it was such good fight choreography.
Oh my god. So Viola said in her interview that they did 5 hours of strength training, sprinting, running, and a martial arts training every day for this thing. And I was like, yo. But even the director, Gina Prince-Bythewood, because I'm not gonna lie, I thought her name's By the Wood by first.
I thought so too. I was looking at
like,
it.
what kind of British nonsense is this? Because you know, like, British thing? No, she's not.
Oh, okay.
She's totally American, but it's Bythewood. So it's not
but
by
it's
the
spelled
wood.
by the wood. It's like by the wood, but no spaces. I was looking, I was like, is that Bythewood or by the wood?
But she's the great director, writer of like Love and Basketball and The Old Guard and some of these other like really good black films. Yeah, she wrote Love and Basketball was based off of her life. Because she used to be a basketball player.
Interesting.
I saw what she looked like, but I didn't know
she's like a light-skinned black woman. But yeah, she was like Love and Basketball based on her life. And that was her film. The first thing that she did when she came out. So I was like, oh my God, I did not know that was her. But she did so much. But she joined them. And I was shocked as the director. She don't got to do nothing.
I saw an interview where Viola had to call her and was like, I'm 56 years old. I can't take this. I'm gonna die.
She's like,
you gotta do something about this.
She's like, these other chicks are 30.
Right?
I'm 56, okay? She was like, if you go past 10.0 on this thing, a 50-year-old can die, okay? But Viola pushed through, and she looked great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she did.
I was like, can I have your trainer too? Can you pass them along over here?
Yeah.
Because the women just, they exuded power. They looked great. I was like, oh my God.
And I like her initial, like the hairdo with like
she's like a mohawk at one point
that
too.
Was so cool.
Yes.
I was like, dude.
That's what I'm saying about seeing the variety. Because go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was telling my sister I didn't really see a lot of like afros per se. It was all like beautiful braids and like not updos, but like with the warriors, they didn't really have their hair out. Mm-hmm. But just little visual things like that I noticed that was interesting.
They styled their hair.
Yeah.
If you saw an afro, it was usually like a low one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like if you think of like from a battle standpoint, you don't want to give somebody something to like
good point
grab onto too easily.
And then also, Whitney, it's like they forget Africans had multiple beautiful styles that they did. Mm-hmm. Multiple tribes had multiple styles. But of course, you know, King Gezo, John Boyega's character said it that he said in order to bind, he said this great line. He was like, in order to bind somebody, you must first make them believe that they deserve to be bound. Right? And it was like about that whole thing about stripping away things. And that was part of it. Like they strip away, like, as soon as they got them to the Americas, they like told them to stop speaking their languages, stop doing this, stop doing they use words to make them believe their spiritual worship things were negative. So they're like, stop doing your voodoo worship, they stripped them of everything so they can continue to keep them bound. Stripping them off of the hairstyles, like shave that mess off or stop doing it. They took all that stuff. So I was like, I like that you noticed that because it was like, I like seeing the braids because I was like, yes, they did their hair. They did their thing. There was even an awesome scene where she was greasing the scalp after after Nawi won her initiation and she became a sister. You saw Igozi just doing her hair for her. I was like, this is awesome. I loved it.
And then like as a African descendant of slaves, there's still a lot of connections that we have that probably passed down. But, you know, like greasing the scalp. You know, we used to do that too growing up.
Exactly.
You know, we'd sit in between our mom's legs. Yeah. It was braid our hair. Yep. So it's like interesting that we haven't lost some of those traditions fully, but there's also like this longing of connecting back with wherever we were from in West Africa, that I think we kind of had that desire to link back to, and that's where the pride comes for me, like wanting to learn more and reconnect, really.
And I think this film helps do that. It helps bridge it. Because if you see it, you have Africans, or at least people from the blacks and Africans from the diaspora were all in this film. Like I said, you had people that were not African that directly in the film. There was people they shot the film in South Africa, so they had a lot of South African actors, but they had people from Nigeria, they had people from Ghana, they had people from England. Sheila Atim herself is from Uganda. So
Whitney's favorite. She's from Jamaican. She's Jamaican British. Yeah, so some Caribbean.
Most of the black people in England are like Jamaican or African or something. But you're right. But they were from, and then Viola herself being from here, and so it's just like I like that she gathered a let's just say a diverse collection of black people into this film. So you could just get everyone together. Like we can all take part in this story and feel connected in this way. So I totally get you. And I like what they did in that, because it helps do the link. And I feel like a lot of the things that we have been doing now with the different films and the different movies and things coming out and the books is helping to bridge it. And helping us not only to uplift us, to make black people feel better about themselves and not believe the nonsense that we've been hearing. Because that's one of the main things Viola kept saying in her interviews, was that she did this film for her 6-year-old self, who was constantly told she was ugly, dumb, stupid, not someone who needs to be on the front screen, running away from white people, calling her names and all that kind of stuff. She did that for her, and it's like, that stuff is still happening to black people everywhere. And it's like, no, we need to take back. Remember who we are. Remember remember we have beauty in our culture. It's not only other cultures that we see that can be beautiful. It's us too. I loved it.
That reminds me of something, just like a quick thing that I forgot I actually wanted to blurt out about. After the Emmys, Prime Video, had like their little banners up at the top about their Emmy winners.
You're talking about the lady from Abbott Elementary, right?
Oh, well, I like Abbott Elementary. I haven't watched all of it, but I started rewatching that. But I finally, because I had meant to watch it when it first came out, but never got around to it. But once they won an Emmy, I watched Lizzo's "Watch Out for the Big Grrrls."
Hey, that's my show.
It was so good.
That is my show,
and I love her uplifting, because like a lot of times these reality competition shows, especially with it, unfortunately, if there's like all women involved, stuff gets so catty and stuff. And I like how she emphasized like the sisterhood, lifting each other up, no toxicity. And what you said about lifting people up and stuff, it reminded me of that, because like this film lifted up black people, African culture. And I loved how watching Lizzo's "Watch Out for the Big Girl" is lifting up big girls, people who aren't like tiny, because she's like, it's hard in this world trying to like make it in this world where this world that sometimes hates you. But it's like, it's amazing watching these women, because I'm like, even when I was in peak 20-year-old physical, I couldn't do that shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and I'm like, just to sidetrack only for a second. Have you watched the show, Chad?
No, but I think you told me about it.
Yes, but I watched that show, and I'm like, that was one of the things I wanted to blurt out about. I don't know if I had talked about it. I'm glad you watched it, because I don't know why I haven't, because that is the one reality show that is deserving of the award it got.
Yes.
Because, like you said, Whitney, you would think a lot of black women getting together and doing all this stuff, there will be cattiness, there'll be some nonsense. And there was like one girl who was having issues, but Lizzo got put out.
She got put out because
you don't get along with everybody. Oh, you need to go, because she's like, that's not the kind of show I want to do.
And I think it's intentional, just by listening to you all, because the shows that we do see, reality TV shows and competitions amongst especially black women, is highly negative.
Yeah.
And
overly sexualized of everything. I mean, this one was so pure. Just they want to find the women to dance. They wanted them to believe them. And then honestly, the show looked like a therapy session to me. I honestly recommend y'all. We're just gonna have a mini blurt out. Watch Lizzo's "Watch Out for the Big Grrrls," because that show is. There's a reason they deserve the award.
So much heart in it.
My family, we binged those episodes episodes in one night, and I was like in awe.
What platform is it on?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Prime Video.
And I just loved it because I was like, she's really doing the work and walking the... Because if you look at it, Lizzo's winning stuff right now. But in the media recently, Aries Spears came out, who's a failed comedian who has a case against him right now. But he came out talking nonsense about her, saying that she looked like a sack of mashed potatoes, or she, like, somebody asked him in an interview if, like, he's like, oh, you know who makes really good music? Lizzo. And then the guy, Aries, was like, what? Who? And he's like, Lizzo makes good music. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's really hard to mess for me when you look like a plate of mashed potatoes. Everybody came for him hard. He bashed Lizzo so bad. Talking about she need to be in the gym. She need to put the eclair down or whatever. This man is not a small man himself.
Dude,
but
she up there, like, they are doing all this, like, cardio work, like,
Lizzo's a vegan.
It's interesting because, like, I admit that it's also helped with my mindset as well. My family's not small, and I've fluffed up. This is probably what I was meant to be all along anyway. But, like, there's this, like, thing
you used to be real skinny, Whitney.
Yeah, that gets ingrained in your head that, like, if you're big, that you're not as athletic. Yeah. And granted, like,
are you not as beautiful?
Yeah, but, like, granted, like, being a certain size, you can have, like, a number of health issues. But if you're healthy, your size, as long as you're healthy, your size doesn't matter. It's like these girls are doing all this cardio work and stuff. And it's like, when you're doing this much cardio, I can't believe that these women are unhealthy just because they're bigger. So it's like,
they do the work.
Dude, you do the work. So as long as you're not endangering yourself because, you know, health issues, like, what are you talking about? Like, they were doing the damn thing. And I was like, damn.
Exactly. I was like, I know you're not talking. It was such a negative thing. Everybody came for him too. And it was
but tell them how Lizzo responded at the MTV Awards.
Yes, she won a VMA and that thing came out. And then I love Lizzo for this. That's why I'm going to see her next week, y'all. I'm so excited. But she's coming to DC concert. I'm so excited. But she decided, like, not to address him. She was like, for all people who want to say shit about me in the press, she was just holding up her award. She's like, bitch, I'm winning without you. And I love her classiness and refusing to address him because everybody knows that thing went everywhere. It was like a social thing on the news. Everyone was talking about how he was unwarranted in his bashing and fat phobia of her. And I was like, Lizzo is healthy. She's always talking about how she's in the gym. She has to be doing those shows.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing. She's a vegan. And I'm like, not everybody's meant to be a size 10, size 0, size 2.
And she's unproblematic. That's why I don't understand. Why do people keep coming for her?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the guy came for her. The guy just asked if you like her music. That wasn't you're okay to bash her body. How did that go with, do you like her music?
Right.
But he immediately went for, as a black man tearing her down. That's why he will forever be foul and trash and canceled in my eyes. I went on, I'm not gonna lie, I went off because I was mad.
Yeah.
But you're so right. That's what we need. Stuff like what she was doing. Even on the show, she cried about it because during that time, she was also getting backlash for other stuff. And she even cried on the show about, like, it just being among those men. It
was like a therapy session. But I also love that, like, after I watched the show, I started listening to more Lizzo music because I liked what I had heard from her. And granted, I know I played some more stuff for my mom because my mom liked Lizzo anyway, but she's, she curses more than my mom usually as an older woman would prefer to hear.
She does. That's the one thing with her.
But, like, it's just, she's got really good music because I was listening, like, Rumors, when they bring in the horns, I'm like, this is the shit right here.
This is my thing. Lizzo's music slams.
It does.
All day.
And after I finished watching it, because I watched it, like, maybe a couple weeks ago, and when I was done, I was like, damn it, I wonder if they still got tickets for that.
I'm telling you, her new album is so good. She makes dance music now, because, a lot of hip-hop and R&B stuff now, some of it's either so slow, or it's that, I like to call it crap trap, that they wear crap trap, because it's like all that stuff, and they're just like talking about drugs, and it's like, when they play this stuff, and when we go places, and I'm like, I want to dance.
Yeah.
Play some dance music. But if you pop
so
Lizzo
good.
on,
it's so
you can
good.
Dance.
And
I
especially like the song Rumors, because I like it was like her clap back at people. She's like, all the rumors are true.
Yes.
I was like, get it, Lizzo.
She has her, remember the birthday song we played at Jane's thing? Birthday.
I had not actually heard that until you played it.
That's off her new album. Her new album is fire. Just listen to it. She has this one song called Special. Oh my God. That thing makes me cry when I listen to it because its song lyrics are like, in case nobody told you today, you're special. I will always love you the same. You're special. And that, how she's so glad you're here. And she wrote that during the pandemic because people were like not feeling well, like wanted to die. People were killing themselves, all that kind of stuff. And it just goes back to this whole thing about Black women taking care of yourself, loving on yourself. She was loving herself through that song when nobody else would.
And I'm sorry. I think Rumors is one of my favorite songs right now because she's like, if you think I'm ratchet now with my ass hanging out, then just wait till the summer when they let me out. I was like, hit a girl. Like, what? Like the lyrics, I'm just like, she just like, it's fine. And then like Tempo with Missy Elliott, I was like,
like I said, Lizzo has got good songs. But going back to the show, it's like that whole thing about the movie is that whole thing of women supporting each other. That's what you saw in The Woman King. Like the sisterhood was like on fire, on point.
Was.
Like the fact that they were just together. Making themselves like, well, you could see the dynamics of like, because you saw in the beginning where like Naui was supposed to be married to this uncle.
Oh my god!
Oh, he was 19. You married her off to some like 50-year-old.
I was so mad when he like slapped her in the face, and the parents standing there like, "This is fine."
Yeah, they didn't do anything.
That's unfortunate, but that's how it was. That's how it was. Once they were trying to sell you off, or you went to your husband's house, anything they do to you, you have to take it. That's why I like that they had this here. It was like a rebellion almost. So the weird thing was, the unfortunate thing was like the Dahomey women were considered to be like the leftovers. The people, they were the women that were thought to be too ugly to marry, the women that nobody wanted, the problem women, the ones you couldn't get in line, those kind of women. And then even they were trained like that from when they were like young. Actually, like really young, like below 14. They will train them in those weird ways. And I like that they showed you guys the scene where they were doing the initiation, where they had to walk through the barbed, the thorny bushes, because that's one of the tests they had during that time to test their strength and stuff. And then one thing they didn't mention in the movie is that if these women decided not to be part of it, like once they were given to this or put into this, if they decided not to fight or do what they asked, they were beheaded quick.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was just like a lot was happening for these women. It was still not perfect. It was still the patriarchy. You saw the part where the king was like, hey, check yourself, Naniska. Check yourself. So Viola Davis' character had to be like, you know, she wanted to go save her daughter. But the king, of course, did not know that was her daughter. At the same time, he's like, I admire you, but don't forget, I'm the king. You better obey me, even though she didn't. It was still
I like the fact that, I mean, I appreciated what he was saying because, like, maybe for him it was a little bit male female, but I felt it was more of a I'm the king. It's not just like I'm a male. It's like, because like when they're the ruler, you can't just have people just.
You're right.
I also felt that he was kind of reasonable, though.
Yeah,
like,
he was very reasonable.
That shocked me.
I love that. I love that about him.
The enemy guy, the Oyo.
Yeah.
Oyo king, he was more like the kings you would see during that time. That is like, hey, I don't care. And I hate to say this, but the Oyo people, I remember telling Whitney this, but the Oyo people are actually Yoruba people. Because Oyo is that's our words. There's an Oyo state still in Nigeria. And they were the Oba is what they call them, but Oba means king in Yoruba. So I knew what they were talking about. And his name was Oba Ade, which means king, crown. Crown means, Ade means crown. So I was like, man, why they gotta be the enemies? But I was like, it makes sense. So, but just so you know, there were cultures and tribes they did not mind selling their people, okay? They did not mind. But I wanted to bring up something that I really liked. I liked the character of Malik. Malik character came in, I brought this up while we were talking that night after the first time we watched it with your mom and Jane, where I like having a character like him who the mom was a slave, but she still remembered where she came from. It wasn't so far into the slave trade where Black people had forgotten where they came from completely. So she was a slave, but she still remembered her home. And she told her son, who was half white, that you need to go back there and see this and see our people and all that kind of stuff. And I like what he ended up doing, even though he came with the slavers. By the end of the time when everything went down and like they were killing all the colonizers, which was my favorite scine, I was like, I'm telling you, I was
tear the whole thing up.
Oh yes,
burn it all down.
Weren't you?
Yeah.
I was like, you guys with me. I was sitting next to her. I was doing punches and stuff. I was like, take those colonizers down. And the theater, the first time we watched, it was loud. Like, people were shouting. I was happy. But I love that scene, and I love what he represented was that internal conflict of him. Because it's like, this is half him, half not. He's part of it, and he's not part of it. And it's honestly, they're all part of it. But it's like, he was torn from the beginning. As soon as he saw how they were treated, he's like, wow, my mom... I liked his face. His face changed as soon as he saw the black people just like hanging by these things and how they were treated like animals, like they were treated so badly, and it disturbed him from the beginning. And how you could just tell he was in love with that girl. He was like, I see me some Nawi, you know? He was like, Nawi, can I holler at a chick? And she was like, I can see you outside the gate, okay? And I love that, but he was just like, oh, this is some black beauty right here. But I love his idea to turn on his friend. I think they grew up together or something. Yeah. And he turned on his friend, and he was like, you know what? They are going to kill you, but you're part of the problem. He was like, you need to go, because I'm going to set these black people free, okay? Yeah. I love that.
And, the thing of it is, because they were friends, but what he was really doing was he was doing the right thing. It wasn't about turning on his friend. It was about doing the right thing. And he was like, I'm just trying to free these people. What happens to you, that was on you. But I'm freeing these people because this shouldn't be happening.
Exactly. And I like to think, I wonder what would happen if, we went further, if he had stayed, if he had gone away. I just wonder. I know that him and Nawi couldn't be, really, because again, even though Nawi was like, why can't we have, husbands just like the guys do? Because the guys that are part of the guard, they have wives and children, but the women were not allowed to. And so she's like, why can't we have a boo thing on the side? Because if you saw Malik without his shirt on, you'd be like, oh,
do you think that maybe even part of it is maybe they think that women are more emotional? Go ahead, Chad. Well, saying compared it to men, how they were able to have families and whatnot.
I think it's because the women were supposed to be of service. And so to show that they were serving and doing this is like, they had to put that whole thing, because the roles of women at that time, like once you became a wife and mother, you were like the busy, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it was like, if you're too busy fighting, you can't, if you're too busy like taking care of your child and your husband and cooking, you're not gonna be able to fight. So they put that limitation on the women already.
I don't even know if it's just that. I feel like it's a priority thing. Like, I feel like once you have a child, if you're a good parent, that should become your number one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what they're saying. That's like, they notice that if you're not going to be able to be a good mom or a good wife if you're also a fighter. So they're like, they put this on there, like, they want them to just be fighters. So the men could do that because they were men. But because the men could at any point leave. Because, again, they're not domestic. But the women are the domestic, and if that happens, they end up having children or anything. Of course, they will not be of service. Because they have to take care of their child. They have to go cook for the man and the hook. So they made that a real thing. Hey, you can't have these. Yeah, that's what I think.
I just feel like the roles. I don't know that much about that, but I just feel like if you're just looking at not just from an African culture, but just a culture in general. Like a woman, since she's like usually the caretaker of the child, like her focus is going to be on a child. So it's not just like the cooking thing and everything and the domestic part.
Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing, Whitney. It's like the woman will not be able to focus on just the fighting. She will focus on the child. Right. So that's another thing.
Because you looked at like Naniska, she was like, when she found out that was her daughter, she was like, no, I'm going to do whatever I have to do just to protect my child.
Exactly. And that's what they're talking about. Because if you go with emotion and all that kind of stuff, then what happens? You can get hurt. You can get, if you're thinking about, my daughter is also here fighting, you're going to be like, I got to do something to save her. You know what I mean? It's like all this kind of stuff. They're like, so it's like, we're saying the same thing, I think, Whitney. It was like, you can't focus. So they made that a priority that the women have to just fight. They have to be extension of soldiers. So they can't have those focuses. They can't be drawn. Those, they can't have those roles along with being the soldier, because the men can compartmentalize and women are not. I don't know if women can't do that, but they're not expected to, because they were like, you wouldn't be a mother if you're not focused on your child. You wouldn't be a good wife if you're not focused on cooking and taking care of your husband, all that kind of stuff. And it's like the women, especially when it comes to having the children, their focus will be on the child, to be like look what happened with Naneska. She had to get rid of hers, and then they would have probably kicked her out. If they saw that. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder how she was gonna hide that baby bump in the first place.
Right.
Even me, I'm like, with those clothes, you can still see a baby bump. How did she do it? You know what I mean?
I forget about that part because she said something about it, but I can't remember what she
was
said.
captured.
She was captured
and
raped
so maybe that's why.
times.
I mean, but like after she escaped, like I don't know how far along she was.
So
I don't know if she was just far enough
She
along
said
where
she
she could
bathed
hide
alone.
before she could come back to the tribe, or like what?
'Cause I know some women like carry small, but it's like a baby bump, especially if you carry them to term. And you have to look at during that time there was no like maternity clothes. There was no like there was no epidural. They were just having that thing like you said. She just had that thing in the bush, you know. So anyway, let's talk about some controversies or things that we didn't really care about. Chad, what was something? I know you were talking about this controversy surrounding this film. Can you go into that a little bit more?
Yes. Well, the controversy was about the Atlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some discussions going on social media about just bringing more of that to light.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like we discussed yesterday, that really wasn't the focus of the film, but that was just kind of interesting to learn that there were African tribes that did sell their people into the slave trade. So it was a business transaction. I did hear that people wanted to boycott the film because of that.
Because they're telling, wait, what?
So they were in protest because Africans sold blacks, sold their people into slavery, and that really wasn't kind of touched upon in the movie, and the movie wasn't based on actual history, and kind of.
So these people didn't watch the film then?
Basically.
No, right.
Because it's like they actually did like go into that.
I love how they forget that. I'm like, the film is a fictional film. 2, it says it's based off real events. Not most films that are based on historical time periods are not all like exact accurate. So it's like, to me, like you said, like it's not fair for them to just be like, oh, I heard this word too, glorifying slavers. I heard this in association with why some people were not watching the film. And I was like, this did not happen.
I didn't think it glorified slavers at all.
Not at all.
There was no glorification of slavers. And I was like, why are you getting mad about this? So it's like, so you can't watch no Holocaust film? You can't watch no film about the Revolutionary War. I'm like, these are fictional films about these time period. We can't escape the history.
Right.
That's why I'm like, everybody, that's why I don't like this whole critical race theory, all that kind of stuff, because it's like they're trying to sugarcoat and escape the bad that was done in the past. Nobody's blaming you current white people for things, but it's like you need to recognize the part the race had in the past. Like that's why I like what the film did. They did not gloss over the whole thing. That even the king said himself in the film that yes, in the past their brothers, the previous king the Dahomey had prospered because they did sell their people. They sold the captives that they got from other like tribal wars and all that kind of stuff. So they did mention it. They mentioned everybody had a hand to play. But to me, to boycott the film because you feel some kind of way about that, I'm like, you're just not acknowledging history then.
And they didn't even just like mention it. They like it was like a
and it wasn't
actual
a main
discussion.
focus, right?
It wasn't a main focus, but it's not like they just glossed over and mentioned it really quickly. It was a thing that he had to decide too. Like Naniska brought it to him like, we need to stop this. This might affect our wealth, but this like it was something he had to think about. Like, okay, we might not be at the like near the top because we might not make as much money if we start selling palm oil instead of slaves like other people. But like it was something he had to think about, and he decided, he was like, no, I will not be like selling any of our people to you anymore. So like, and
even what's her name? She said it in the film. She's like, the white people, the Europeans have brought morality to this place. They will not stop till all of Africa is there. That was so true. That was the hypocrisy of them. They came and they professed to bring, civility and morality because of what they believe, but they really were they were the most hypocritical race in the world. Like
every time they
did such barbaric things to people. But you're supposed to be coming and showing them the way. I thought it was like, anyway, they were full of bullshit.
Remember when they came and he was like, they're a bunch of savages. So
right?
You're trying to
bring the savage land.
Yeah. It's contradicting.
Yeah. Yes, but then you came down to where the king was. You brought gifts. I'm like, what's all this?
And it's interesting because you also think of like just like colonial, like the British colonialism, like when we watched RRR, like the horrors
of the
that
British
they did,
that everywhere
and then
they
thinking
went.
about like when I was talking to Jane about like colorism and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe it already existed like in places like India, or maybe I don't know if it existed in Africa or not, but like it feels like it was more perpetuated by the British colonizers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Because it was the closer you were to them, the better you were.
Mm-hmm.
The better you were treated in life.
Right.
That kind of thing.
What's RRR?
Oh, it's an indie movie.
Yes,
You should watch.
Bollywood movie.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have as much dancing, so in case you're not like as big of as much
Thanks,
dancing, it's only
Whitney.
got like 2 or 3 dance numbers, very good ones, but it doesn't have as many as like the other ones. But
It's like an
very-
action-packed film.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, isn't it, Bola?
It's,
That's
yeah,
what
it's
it was.
in, you do have to.
The R letter.
Like, yep.
Mhm.
Rise,
Rise,
Revolt.
Revolt. Dang. Rise,
Roar.
Revolt, Roar. Yeah. Rise, Revolt, and Roar, I think.
Mhm.
But it's really good. It's like one of the top indie movies. Like people were watching it
And
here
it's a
too.
great action movie too. Like
But
they
it also
did a
talks
great
about this.
job
Mm-hmm.
with like the action scenes and stuff.
You mentioned
Yeah.
it talked about colonialism.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the British.
Because
It was talking about.
Okay.
It takes place during the time where the British were controlling India.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yes.
so you see the difference between like somebody fighting for their people, and then
Mhm.
another Indian person he joined the British Army, and then you see different things happening between the two. It's a very good film.
It sounds
is very-
interesting.
It's also very action packed too.
Mhm.
So it's a really good film.
It really
You should
is.
watch it and then listen to our show afterwards. And that's the show Shashi was on. My sister Shashi.
Oh,
Because she
okay.
watched it with us. Because she was like, "You have to watch it." She's been saying it to me for weeks, and I was like, "Nah, man." And I sat and watched it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so good."
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'll have it on my list.
Anyway, so what else do you want to say about this movie, The Woman King? It's just phenomenal, y'all. Y'all need to go watch it.
It's great. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I don't think it was just so awesome. I loved it. I loved it.
I love the film. I could watch it again, honestly.
So rich. It was awesome.
It's definitely the popcorn turner. Like, I mean, I have to say this: the issues of like, I like that when it came to the stories of the women, that you saw that all the women all had different backgrounds and different stuff. But what I liked, because Viola Davis, she has to have these kind of characters that are like full with all these issues, and like she boiled it down simply, and everybody's complicated, but she was like, Naneska, to her, she's like, Naneska is a rape survivor, a domestic violence survivor, something like that. And she's like, she was a victim, but she was a survivor of it, and she let that be kind of like a pillar or a guiding light for like what this woman's about, you know. And then the fact that her daughter just ended up coming back to her, it just is like a full story of healing for her, you know. And I love the scene that like really got me. Number one scene that really got me was seeing Nawi cry over Igozi's body. That mess.
Oh my God.
Her cry was so primordial, just like, like I was just like, I can't watch.
That's how I was feeling
like
inside too.
I felt like I was invading a private moment, and I was like, and I was pissed because they're like people backed up because they saw what was happening, but at the same time, then that stupid the stupid Alba guy, he was like, "You want her $100?" You know what I mean? I was like, bastard.
That does bring up something else that I thought about that I forgot to mention.
Oh wait, let me finish this.
Okay, yeah.
But my thing was seeing the full circle of the healing was that scene where the two of them were talking, because I like that they were realistic about this. You knew you're an orphan. You just finding out that this woman is your mother. Let's not pretend and feel like that's like a smooth journey process thing. I like how it's like she was awkward, then she was feeling awkward. She didn't know what to do. The other one didn't know what to do. And it was like, oh, this is why I'm connected to her. This is what I'm seeing in her. But then it was also like, I felt for Nawi because she was like, she apologized because she felt like she was a representation of something negative that happened to her. And then right in there, Naniska was like, no, you were not the thing that hurt me. And then she was like, you're my daughter. Oh my God, that part just blew. I was done. Like, I never felt so many emotions in one film in my life. Because it was like, you felt like the pride, you felt sad, you were crying with them, you were joyful with them. But that scene, I just loved how they showed that healing that was beginning.
What do you think about the revelation scene in the tooth?
Oh my God.
That was...
What do you think about that scene?
I mean, it was, I don't know, I used the word smooth yesterday, but Viola just went in, like, she didn't sugarcoat it. She just, this is what it is. So it was just impactful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It had a lot of punch.
Yes.
What were you going to say, Whitney?
No, actually, you said what I was going to say. I was glad that, like you said, that they didn't make this, oh, you're my daughter. You're my mother. Oh, I'm so glad about that. Let's hug. Everything's okay. It's like, no, like, I'm fucked up right now.
Yeah, right.
I need a moment.
Right? And even
a
at
moment
the
or
end,
two.
she was only like, Mom, will you come and dance with us?
Oh, yeah.
She was
That
just
was
like,
cute.
that was the cutest thing ever.
It was so, I like the way they did that. It was subtle. It wasn't this like completely fairy tale.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a nice moment. It was like, it was the beginning of healing, but it's like, it's not just like immediate acceptance. It's like, this is like hard. I'm sure like difficult for both of them. One, like she said, she's like, you're not the thing that hurt me, but that's probably very painful for like considering.
To know you're the product of rape.
Yes. For Naniska, but then for Nawi, like, she's like, my life was hard because I didn't have my mother.
Yeah.
Like they tried to sell me to some dude. Like I ended up here because that was like the last resort. My adoptive father sold me
after getting her, and then they sold her.
Yeah,
you know?
so like that's a lot of trauma and pain on both sides. So I like you said, that they didn't just sugarcoat it. They're like, no, this is difficult.
Just like, these people were just raised to be warriors from the beginning. Like, no, they came from trauma. Most of the women were traumatized by something, whether it was just their role in life. I mean, even Izogi's story. You saw that she was like 14, and then her virginity was sold to the highest bidder, and there were all these crap men, and her mom had no pity for her. Her mom was like this harsh woman. And then Izogi was like, nah, when the fourth one came, or the third one came, she was like, no, I'm getting out of it. I'm gonna cut a bitch. You know what I mean? I'm gonna burn a bitch. That's what she said. Excuse the word, but she was like, I'm gonna burn him down. And she was like, I'm getting out of here. And you see that those kind of things, like most of the women were traumatized. The other ones were captives. I like how the girl that died early, I wish I could remember her name, but she was from the Mahi people, and she was like, her main reason for staying was that she's like, here, I'm going to be the hunter and not the prey. That was powerful to me.
It was.
As a woman, like, when you don't have power in that time, it was like, for her, she's like, she was seeing you, and also you see the good of empowering women, what they can become, what they can do. And I was like, no, when they rolled up to Alba the first time, and they were like presenting the gift, and it was really the heads of the people they left. That was bold. That was mad bold. But two, they were like, oh my God. He was like, the Dahomey people, they don't even have enough warrior. They weren't man enough that they send women to fight. Be like, oh, okay, these women gonna show you a thing or two. Multiple times they got him. And they got him at the end.
They retreated too.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. So there was a thing about the scene she was talking about that you mentioned. Oh yeah. So did you think that maybe Nawi was Oba's child, maybe, or?
I thought that because she kept having flashbacks of being raped by him specifically. But like you said, she was raped so much, and like different men don't really know who the father might be.
I know.
I kind of feel like it was.
That's a good thing.
But I mean, we can,
there's no way to verify, but yeah.
I feel like that's probably the case as well, because I felt like he was almost the one who got to keep her. So more than likely.
But there was like a line of men outside.
And her dreams. Remember, she had recurring dreams, and she mentioned towards the end that they were, I don't know if they're flashbacks of her being raped, but I think it had something to do with the rape.
The beast thing. She kept mentioning about a beast.
I think it was him, maybe metaphorically, might have been him, and just her being raped, But I'd like to think that it was him.
Oh, that was the father. Yeah. I think she was saying the beast at the end of the thing was her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was she had recognized. Well, I like that they actually talked about this because in African cultures, dreams mean a lot. So, like, I remember my mom always tells me, if you're eating in your dream, it's not a good thing. You have to pray. So she always said, like, so it's like, it's still a thing that happens now where dreams and all this kind of spiritual stuff is very much elevated as important things in our society. Well, some dreams are nonsense, of course, but some dreams, especially the ones you have habitually, are very important. And I was like, these are like just cultural nuggets and things that I'm just like, oh my God, yeah. I'm not the only one that does this. You guys can see now, this is a thing from our culture, it was just so many things. The fashion in this film was phenomenal. The queens were just looking great.
Yes.
The makeup and everything. Yeah. And I was just like, even the outfits that the Agogie wore, I just thought it was wonderful. Like, I don't know what else we could talk all day about this film.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing. It's like you could never be bored. Even though my niece was irritating me because she was like, I'm bored. And she's like, it got a little boring to me. And I'm like, that's because you're on your phone and you're a 10-year-old and you have no patience or attention span for anything.
TikTok generation.
It did engage you the whole time.
It was.
Like you said, it did take you through a roller coaster.
Yes.
Yeah. It had great,
her 7-year-old,
no pacing issues at all.
The 7-year-old was engrossed the whole time. So it was just, honestly, it was just my 10-year-old niece who has no... Anyway, kids with phones. It's just ruining their brains.
Oh, I know.
Yes. Okay. So is there any other things you'd like to add to this? I'm just feeling it. It's an awesome film. All right. So we're going to get into the ratings now, y'all. Whitney, I feel like you had something else to say. You were looking like pensive just then.
I don't know. I was just thinking about like the trial, like you were talking about when like through the barbed wire where she went back and saved her friend.
That was
pull
awesome.
her forward. And then like, Natsuko was like yelling at her about how she did that, but I'm like, that's your daughter. She got that from you. You go back. You
went back too. Honestly, okay. Before we get to rating, you're right because that was a thing that I loved about Naoi the most. And I think you both said Izogi was your favorite character.
Yes.
Who was your favorite, Chad?
Oh gosh.
Nanesca was awesome, right? I really like Amenza because she was like a strong she was a strong lieutenant person.
Yes.
But Naoi was one of my favorites too because her character. I know y'all it's looking a little blustery outside. What's going on with the weather? Right. I know. I did not know it was gonna rain. Anyway, but Naoi, the fact that she kept saving, especially that one friend, but she just kept saving people she cared about, like. It was like even you saw that
peak
throughout the
sisterhood.
film. Yeah, she saved her friend multiple times. The one that was like not even. She didn't have to go back during. This was a test. She could have lost and not came in first, but she went back for her friend and still came in first. She went back and she helped Izogi when she realized Izogi got captured. Izogi was about to like take a knife and cut her throat, her own throat. She was like, "Nah, it's better to be dead than to go to other lands where you don't know what's gonna happen to you." And she just like, "Buck up, girl. You helped me so much when I was training. Now I'm helping you." And she's like, "We're doing this together." They came up with the idea. Honestly, and I think Izogi from the past would have been like, "Nah, I'm running," and because she was at a clear, she could
exactly.
But
I didn't think that she would have got shot. I mean,
because that sister came back for her. She came back for her too, and then
like,
unfortunately she died. But
she did, and I was like, I love how like when she heard her, she was like, it was like no hesitation, just like, no, I'm going back.
No, she was an arrogant little thing in the beginning, but I really love her character. She was fiery. She was like kicking ass. I just wish she could have had Malik. I'm sorry.
A true leader.
Malik and those abs.
That British dude, Lord, he was fine.
But you're right. Like, even though Izogi was my favorite, like all of them did such great performances. And I love how
the ensemble together is good.
Yeah, it was. It was like an ensemble. Like the main focus was Naniska. But and then of course Naoi like being her daughter that you didn't know was her daughter, but they had such great storylines for the other characters too. They weren't just like side characters. They're like really well developed and stuff.
You saw the roles and
you saw the growth.
Right.
I love that you saw like growth of the other characters too, because like you said, like she like if she went based off of Naniska's I don't know, what would you say, philosophy, she was like, yeah, I would step on her head too.
Oh yeah, Amenza. It took Amenza a second. She's like, "Did you just say you're gonna step on my head?"
Her facial reaction.
Best friend.
Like,
stop playing.
But she was like, no, like Naoi was a true leader because a true leader inspires other people to grow and be better. And like you said, I forget which one of y'all said it. Like you thought that before Izogi might have left her.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, this time she did not hesitate. She was like, no, I'm going back. This is my sister. She did not hesitate to go back. Even though she died.
It was terrible. I just love the film, y'all. All right, so let's do our rating.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So for me, I'm gonna give it a 10 glasses. This is just my film. Honestly, even if you don't like slave time stuff or what, well, this one doesn't really show the slavery part except for the capturing part. But this is just a well-rounded, awesome film. Like,
it was.
You can watch this multiple times. Even my sister Toomey told me, the one that had the 2 kids. She was like, for her, she was like, the film gave her motivation. She's like, motivation. And I'm like, for what? To kill folks? She was like, no, to fight. to learn to fight. And that's like, you know what?
To learn to fight.
I felt like power from that film. Like, you felt proud and you wanted to go like, I gotta go take some lessons. And it's just a great feeling from the film. And I'm just like, anybody who likes films, wants an enjoyable thing to watch, this is a good one. So I give it 10 glasses. All right. What about you?
I'm going to have to give it 10 glasses as well.
10 glasses.
I think it's inspirational for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, just the story itself. Yeah, again, it is, it does exude a lot of pride. But I mean, there's lessons to be learned that all of us can take away.
Yes.
So,
right.
Yes, girl.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Go see the film.
What about you, Whitney Chan?
We're going to give this an average of 10 glasses because I am also giving it 10 glasses.
Woo-soo.
Chadney, you gotta buck up your woo-soo, girl.
Woo-soo. Is that better? Is that better?
Fine. You do the chant. Let me
I
join.
don't chant.
Agoge.
Agoge.
Woo-soo.
Agoge.
Woo-soo.
One more time. Agoge.
Woo-soo. Oh man, that was great.
Yes.
All right. Well, Chad, we thank you for joining us on our
Yes,
episode
thank you,
today.
Chad.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome insights from you. Thank you for coming. Finally, she has caved to my invitation.
My nerves, y'all, my nerves.
No,
But
you did great.
Whitney and Bola, you know, made me feel very comfortable, and I appreciate them for that. If y'all could feel how I'm feeling right now, I'm shaking a little bit. But
You have wonderful things to say. Like, I love everything you've contributed so far, and that's why I was like, I'm telling you, Chad has way more things to say, y'all. When it comes to the black women, that's why I was like, I need to have her on for this episode because she's such a believer in lifting up black females, women, dark-skinned women, everything. Like, let's get rid of this colorism. Let's put our dark sisters on a pedestal. And just like, let's get rid of the color definitions. We all some shade of brown. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And let's
That is
love on
right.
each other and lift each other up together.
Yes,
So
yes.
I love, that's why I had to have you on the show to talk about this because this film does everything you talk about. And I knew you would have some great things to say. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
No, girl, I think we just gonna
Blerd out. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Please subscribe to our show on whatever podcast listening app you use and share the show with other Blerds and non-Blerd family and friends. And if you like our episode, please rate and review us on iTunes.
The intro and outro music is Twilight by Caption. You can find them on SoundCloud, username Caption, spelled CAPSHUN. The show notes are by Bola Hanson, and the audio engineering is by Whitney Booker.
And you can contact us by email at blerdtalkbw@gmail.com. And also, don't forget to get social, you guys. You can find us on our social media at Instagram and Twitter, with our @handle being @blerdtalkbw. And we've got our individual things going on too, y'all. So you can find me, your Blerd Fashionista, on Instagram and Twitter at BolaStoryB. That's B with 2 E's like the insect. And I've got my own personal YouTube channel, just Bola Sade. That's BOLASHADE. D as in dog, E as in elephant.
And this is Whitney. You can find me at my company, Luminavi Studios. The email address is wit@luminavi.com. That's WHIT@LUMENAVI.com. You can also find me on Twitter at Luminavi Studios.